Welcome to Calming the ADHD Family third annual summit. My name is Laura Dawn, and I am your host of this beautiful event. And I'm absolutely delighted to introduce you to Alma Galvin, the founder of BrainWorks. Welcome, Alma.
Thank you, Laura. I'm so excited we get to share and we get to spend this time together. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And each time I get the opportunity to speak with you, it's a beautiful experience. I always learn from you, and I'm just so thrilled to share you with the audience today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Can you let us know a little bit about BrainWorks and how it became to be?
Absolutely. So, in a very short synopsis, BrainWorks was basically born out of necessity, or basically the components that make BrainWorks came from needed space because in the 90s I was a young mom that had two kiddos that were very, very challenged. They both didn't speak until after they were 6 years old. And when I turned to the doctors, one of my eldest was very severe at that point. Didn't know anything about what was a threat to his life, to his well-being. It was just he was just always getting into certain situations that would make my heart stop. And I know that many parents have experienced that as well. And when I turned to doctors to share some of the things that I could do to help my kiddos, they suggested I put my eldest son in an institution. And I couldn't believe what they were saying. Like I still kind of gets me that I'm like, that's their solution. And obviously that wasn't going to happen. So then that led me to the journey of I have to find a solution. I have to help. There's got to be something out there. And that was the one drawing or force inside my brain that was just saying there's got to be. There's got to be. And so did so many things throughout the years. Now it's been 25 years, but it took me quite a while to really uh do the research, do the experimentation, if you will, on different programs, a lot of programs. And I took the best of what really I saw was incredible for my children and for myself. And then other parents started asking me, hey, can you work with my child? Okay. So I started basically mimicking what I was doing with my little family and doing it with other clients. And subsequently now it's been 25 years that I've gone to work with truly thousands of people. And what BrainWorks is, we really focus on the foundation of us as a human being. What do we have available? What is our brain lacking? And so my goal is to always bring that highlighted space of we need building blocks to be there for us. We need to go back and make sure that we have, you know, we all have gaps in our development because of the world that we live in, because of toxins in our air, our water, our food, our wonderful technology. It's wonderful, but it comes at a cost, everyone. It really does. And so then we can then add movement, that it's our first language, adding movement, building these building blocks, adding to the building blocks, making these amazing little movements that fill in the neurological gaps. All of a sudden we have more bandwidth, we have more available energy in our brain, in our body, to do more, but with less stress. And so
Mhm.
that's a huge part of how this all came to be, because it was just out of necessity. And what I found out is that many doctors, teachers, therapists, they just don't know the developmental sequences, the developmental part in the way that then can explain why certain children are acting a certain way. And guess what? When we go back and we do these movements, all of a sudden the brain has that available energy to then not have to keep doing the same thing over and over that are making us stuck, that are keeping us in a challenged state. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how it came to be. And why I love this topic that we're going to talk about is that I thought I was helping my children. And I had to do every movement that they were doing because that they wouldn't I couldn't tell them what to do, so I had to do it with them. I had to play with them. And in playing with them, one, it got me back in touch into my own inner little child within me that did not get a chance to be a child. So I had to I got a chance to be a child with my children. And the other thing is that I learned a lot about my challenges that I had within me that I had no idea they were challenges. I just thought they were quirkinesses that I had. That I just, oh, I had these compensations that's how who I was. And it wasn't so. And so what I see in our group, in my clients, is that as a parent, as a mom, we're now mostly moms, right? I mean, your audience is also mostly moms because guess what? As a mom lately in our society, we've been told we can do this and this and this, and we can work and we can have a family and we can keep, and guess what? It's not possible to do everything, but sometimes we have to do everything. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is how can we do some little movements that give our body a break, that integrate in a very short amount of time. And we're going to also gift a workshop that I absolutely love, talking about 3 movements that are my favorite movements because I weave those throughout my day to allow me to be able to stay calm, to stay integrated, and to really just be able to show up as best as possible throughout that day.
Mm. Thank you so much. I love that you shared the journey that you went on to get to where you are today. And that just shows how much of your heart and soul is really in Brainworks and the work that you do. So I can imagine how stressful it was for you back when your kids were so challenged. And you talk about the movements that you do that help to bring about some relief from that stress. What would you recommend for parents? How could they get started? Is there a little movement that they could do?
Well, I'm gonna share a little one. Yes,
Yeah.
that because that's our thing. It's like little movements make big changes. So in the workshop, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but I'm going to just give you guys a little preview because it is one of for me, one of the most powerful tools that I found for myself. One, it's called the calming posture or uh, hookups. And why I love it. So do it with me. So cross your ankles, cross your legs at the ankles, and then we're going to put your hands in front, thumbs down, clasp your hands and bring them in if you can. There we go. And then you bring them in and you hold them against, like, by your heart, and the tongue goes to the roof of your mouth. But as you're holding this, I would do this so often, and I got my children to do it with me, but I did it first, because if I could get myself calmer, then I could hold a different space for my children and try to help them get calmer as well. Didn't always work that way at the beginning, but then the more I understood that, the more that I'm calm, the more that then they're going to bounce off my energy, the more that I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to be the pillar that holds the energy for the whole house. So this was my favorite because what do we want to do when we're having a challenging time? We want to talk it out. We want to let me explain to you what we're doing. Why? And guess what? When we're having a challenging time, when we're in fight or flight, or when we're stressed out, our cortex is not available. We are in survival, which means if we're in survival, if my brain is stressed out, I'm not able to see your point of view. I can't see other. So when I do hookups, it allows me to bring my whole energy. It's basically my body gets into one circuit mode, and this position then draws lots of blood to my heart. When I'm calm, when my heart is calm, then my brain follows right after that. And in this position, you're bringing in your left and your right side of the brain to come together. It's also, if we really look at it, it's a spiral, right? We're going here, we're going in, it's a spiral. Everything in our universe grows in a spiral. So we're basically connecting to our origin in a sense, but the bigger part is that we're with the tongue at the roof of my mouth. I can't talk.
I was going to
Uh,
ask you about that. Why does the tongue need to be at the roof of the mouth? Okay.
well, the tongue being at the roof of the mouth is the last piece that unites that one circuit. There's energy channels that also, once we're here, they all come together with that tongue. The tongue, the central meridian comes from like the groin area up to about there, and then the governing meridian goes around and it ends right there. So everything kind of culminates to that roof of the mouth. So when we're basically igniting all so much, but in a calm state, going towards a calm state. And if we're able to hold this for, a minute, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, you're going to see a humongous difference. And then I would suggest you do this for yourself. You model that. And if this is too weird, if this is like, there's days that this doesn't feel so good to me, this is fine. Because one of the things in brainwash is like, you have to do things that feel good, that feel doable. And so if here I'm not feeling so, like I feel like I'm in a knot, then don't do that. Go here and then feel this, Laura, and then drop it down just a tiny bit, because it changes. And sometimes it feels better here, and sometimes drop it down a little bit more, or you like it better a little high. And then just sometimes I'll just put my hands like this and bring them to it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So I just kind of like, it's basically, I'm just holding my thumbs like in a butterfly. Yeah, there you go. And you just bring it in.
All of these movements feel very loving. They feel like giving yourself
Mhm.
a hug. You're giving yourself some love, some self-care. And I love having that image, kind of that visual image of love and self-care connected with the movement, as well as the thought of like, I'm like letting myself know like I'm okay, I'm calm in this moment.
Absolutely. And, our heart takes a lot. It does so much for us. So when we're here, we really are connecting. We're in relationship to our heart. And when our heart calms down, everything else then just follows. And then one of the things that I would suggest is that you try this, you do this for yourself. Wake up in the morning and set an intention. I am present and connected to spirit, or to whoever, whatever you want. Just something simple. But when you're in the middle of, the party, I'm going to say it that
I love that.
way. Just come here and just go, I'm I'm working on calming down. I am calm. Even though you might not feel calm, just acknowledging that I'm working on it. I'm going towards being calm. I'm holding the space for me to calm down. That the intentions, I love, 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 love intentions. They go a long way, because guess what? We're setting intentions many, many times unconsciously. So why not get into the habit of doing an intention with a conscious state? So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to also model for our children. Hey, when the party's starting to happen, it's like, hey, I don't want to, I'm not feeling so great. So I'm going to go and just calm my body, calm my brain down, and I'll be right back. And we can continue it. And if you feel regulated enough, stay in the room and get into hookups and do it. If you don't feel regulated enough that you're like, okay, this is just not going to happen, right? Take yourself away, go to the bathroom, go to a room and calm yourself. This is so, so powerful. But again, tell your child, I will come back. Don't just leave the room, because then that kind of feels like you're abandoning them. It's a huge amount subconsciously, but if you're doing it this way, then you're modeling, oh, okay, she's doing that. So then when you see your child that they're starting to be regulated, you can say, hey, that hookup thing that I do, it really helps me. Do you want me to do it with you? And if they say no, because sometimes they'll do that, it's like, okay, I will do that, because then what's going to happen? You're going to hold that space for your child. You're not going to talk. In brainworks, we say, when somebody's dysregulated, if you engage, you enrage.
Mhm.
And this is one of the biggest reasons why I love just holding my heart and knowing that the storm will pass. There's also a little, saying that we say quite often, and that is stop trying to calm the storm.
Mhm.
The storm, calm yourself. The storm will pass,
Yes, I love that one too.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It just makes so much sense, but it's so simple that it's so hard to do when you're in the middle of it. And that's one of the reasons why we have to practice. It's not about, oh yeah, I know it. No. Yes, we know so much, but it's putting in practice. And we need to practice it over and over. So see if you're going to have a conversation with somebody, go into hookups and then just set an intention. My best self shines today in this conversation. My best self shows up. I am calm when I'm having this conversation with this person, or whatever it is that you want for that conversation. So practice putting it into as many things as you can throughout your day, and that builds up over time. And that's why you don't have to take a lot of time. You could just seriously, like, be here, take a breath. I am present. Let's go.
Oh, I love it.
It
And I
can be as
love how you
simple as
talk
that.
about the practicing of this and multiple times throughout your day. It, while setting an intention too, you could make a part of your morning routine like today is going to be a beautiful day. I choose to make it so. Today I'm going to be calm and connected. Today I'm going to be present and in the moment. And spending 60 seconds doing that as part of your morning routine. Maybe that's something that you do while you wait for your coffee to brew in the morning. Maybe that's something you do at the beginning of your lunch break. Like if you can do it's just like I'm a school teacher. So when we have fire drills at school, we do not practice a fire drill when there's smoke in the building. We practice when everything is calm, and we practice many, many times while things are calm. So when that urgent situation arises, when your child is, becoming de-escalated, you've already practiced this, so it comes much more naturally. It's easier for you to access in the moment. And I love, Alma, what you said, that your child may not want to engage in that exercise, but you doing it for yourself is key because your child picks up on your energy. We know this, right? We know this. When our child is escalated and it triggers us and we get reactive, then they get more reactive and then there's this great big huge explosion. So if we can notice that that escalation is starting and do something to bring ourselves into a calm place, we're going to help to regulate and share our calm and de-escalate the situation.
Absolutely. And there's two words that I have just fallen in love with lately, Laura, and that is tropism and microchimerism.
Ooh, those are two new words. Can you repeat it and explain what
Yes.
those mean?
So tropism is really for a cell. It knows what to go towards. It feels it. So it leans in basically when something it feels good, it pulls away and goes away from something when it doesn't.
Mm,
And that is truly, we're all cells, right? So think of your child as that. So when we're safe, our children lean in. They want to
mm,
go towards us. If we have safe energy, if we have calm energy, there's no way that your child's going to resist you because they want to be around you if they feel honored, if they feel like you're safe, if they feel, that they're being seen by you. And I can't tell you, as my kiddos were struggling, it's like anytime they come close to me, it's like, oh, I gotta do something because I gotta fix it. I gotta fix it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that just no, that's not how it works. But I get it as a parent. Sometimes when we see such a need, we want to fix it. The thing is, if we start again by being that calm energy, by being that safe energy for our child, we have a humongous shift in so many things, and we have initiated a new way of moving forward with my child. Not, so that's tropism. Microchimerism is basically this. when if we've had a child that we gave birth to, and
Mhm.
everything is we're all interlinked, right? So even if you didn't have a child that you gave birth to, anything you're doing, it's being mirrored, and we're co-creating, we're co-regulating with each other. So we're still blending. But if we have a child that we gave birth to, microchimerism is this. There's traveling, I call them traveling cells. So traveling cells, if, when we had our baby in our womb, the some of the baby cells would come into us, and some of our cells would travel into the baby. And then the baby would come out, and some of my cells are still with my sons.
Mhm.
Some of their cells are still with me. Still, it's not like they just came and then, no, they then keep growing within us. So my cells are growing within them, their cells are still growing within me. So when I change, this is I'm just like, I love this part, Laura, because the more I change, guess what? Then my cells that are still within them, they go, hey, we've changed over here. And they go, oh, yeah, 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 I'm coming. So they start mirroring. I'm being silly, but they start mirroring, they start then going towards, because it's the tuning fork effect.
Mhm.
You have a tuning fork that's vibrating at a certain way. You have another one that's not, it's gonna follow it. The strongest, vibration wins.
Mhm.
So if I'm the calmest, if I'm changing, if I'm really working on myself, healing different things about me, my cells in them are gonna do the same thing. So now it's within them, and it gets better. What about the cells that were within me, that are still within me, that are their cells? Well, now because I'm changing, they're changing with me. And now when I go and my cells that are within, or their cells that are within me, they're talking now to their whole entire little being over there, saying, hey, we've changed over here. And because you have that strongest energy, their cells, a little at a time, will start to also follow. So whether your child does anything, and this is a big one, or they just observe and you're changing, your children are still changing. So our society, especially now after 2020, you guys, oh my goodness, what happened? But knowing what happened, it's so important that we really weave in, that we hone into, how are we doing? And if we're not doing so great, we got to do this. We got to take care of ourselves. And it's not even if we're not doing so great. It's like we have to maintain. So that's why for me, the little movements throughout our day are so important, which kind of leads me, Laura, to talking about the work area.
Mhm.
Because we go to work because we have to go to work. Many, many parents, they need to go to work to be able to provide for their kiddos. The thing is, we're leaving so much energy at work. And what I have found is that if we weave in, though, these little movements with intentions, that keeps the brain so connected, that then your brain will start to use less energy to do the work stuff. So you have energy left for your child. So you have energy left for the other things that need to happen over there. And so for me, it's so important to do intentions, take care of yourself at work so that you can expand the bandwidth, so you can then also take care of our loved ones, your family.
This is absolutely key, and I'm so glad that you talked about this. I learned this through my own experience, and that is what led to me creating the ADHD Village. I noticed that when I did the work for myself, when I started working on calming my nervous system through tapping, when I started working with my life coach to really look at my subconscious thinking and to rewire my brain, when I started doing the work on myself, the ripple effect in my family was like magic. By
Right.
working on myself, my kids became calmer. The relationship between my 2 sons improved, which was like magic. I wasn't doing any like, cognitive therapy with them or play-based therapy with them. Like they weren't in therapy, I was simply working on myself, regulating my own emotions, doing the work for myself. And then I watched how it impacted my family. And when I realized that, I thought, wow, like this is something I need to share. And so you've just shared the science behind that transformation that I felt in my family, which is beautiful.
Right? Microchimerism, there's lots of
Hmm.
studies out there. Harvard did a study. There's a different one as well. I'll see if I can send them over to you so you can take a look at them. But it's beautiful. And when we really understand gestation, when we understand development, when we understand the building blocks, and we understand that we're so interconnected, but in
Hmm.
such a beautiful way, not just from the cosmos area. It's like, no, we really have cells within us that unite us.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, I,
so
and I
beautiful.
always I always thought it was really funny that I'm like, God, I'm the eldest of four kids. So, and we're all girls in my family, my sisters, right? And so I'm like, there's got to be a reason why I'm the oldest, because they're the eldest back in my family. I was like a mom to my sisters, right? And I'm like, well, this is why, because I'm being silly with you guys, but I don't have any of my cells or any of my sister's cells within me, but they have some of mine within them, because
Mm.
my cells went to my mom, and then sometimes that's why families are so interconnected. They're just, it's amazing,
Mm. Oh, wow. That's that is something I had never thought about, that my younger
right?
sister has some of my cells in her body. Oh, so cool.
Right? It is. And I'll just say one more thing about this. As we understand this, then we really can have more compassion for others. Others are, they really are doing the best they can. But we can't see that when we're under fire, when we're under so much stress. So the more that we really take care of ourselves, it really is like we just become that tuning fork, so others can also be able to feel more comfortable, more like in a safe place. So
And I love that how you were talking about the workplace, and especially after 2020, there's a lot of demands on us. And I find now that we've moved more to a lot of working from home and digital. I mean, in some ways it's easier, but in some ways it can feel like we're always on, and really challenging to be working while you're at home, taking care of your kids at the same time, or maybe, you're doing some of your work in the evening, like on the while you're at soccer practice or whatever. So there's quite a bit of juggling. Uh,
yes,
what would you suggest? How can parents kind of manage that juggling act between work and home, especially when they have children with special needs?
and that is like the million trillion, because a million's not that much anymore.
Yeah.
But this is what I have found, that when we have a system that is able to be integrated as best as possible, we really do have more bandwidth, Laura. So then things that take so much time when we're just stressed, they take less. So for me, it's about really making sure that you have a regimen that works for you. And for me, it has to be that it's doable. It's not about, it's like, okay, now I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it's like, no, 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 no. Where are your little gaps that you can just completely put in a movement? That, because again, going back to movement is our first language. So when our body's integrated, when our body's calm, we can do so much more. So, for me, I work from home as well, but I find that I actually have more time throughout the day to just spread around and doing. So I'll do an activity, I'll do a session, I'll do something like that. And then I go, oh, great, I can go water my plant. And then I come back and I do, so I kind of spruce it up. But I'm always, when I'm doing something, whether it's like outside or I'm doing, or as soon as I'm done with like this interview, I'm going to go ahead and do a few movements and then go do something else. So I'm always breaking my whole day throughout my day with movement, because
Mhm.
that ensures me that my body will stay in the best possible way.
I love that. I love that. So it's very similar to this concept of, um, now let's see if I can say it correctly. You your worst parenting on your best day is better than your best parenting on your worst day. So if you are, doing your self-care and as simple as some mindful movements throughout the day, you're taking care of yourself, you're going to show up as your best parent and be more effective at work, really. If you're taking care of yourself, you will be more effective and efficient at work, which means you have more time and energy to bring home to your family. Whereas if you're trying your best to implement all the incredible strategies that you've learned, but you haven't taken care of yourself first, it's like spinning the wheels, like all these fabulous strategies, but you're not taking care of. It's really hard to show up as the best version of yourself for your family and for your job.
You're gonna burn out.
Mhm.
We're gonna burn out. And the interesting thing is, how can we burn out? Because we're already burned out. Most of my clients, as I talk to them, I'm like, wow, that's just exhausting. But guess what? It's so relatable because I was right there. I was right there that I just like I woke up because my kids needed to be fed. And trying to do something, but it is hard, you guys. It really is hard to really manage the stressful and not knowing what to do. And that's why I love the ADHD village as you have created it, because we need a community. We can't do this alone, and that's why it's you come together in the community to practice, to talk, to gain more knowledge and strength and encouragement, and we need it. That's
Mhm.
just it. And one of the things is I've never, ever, ever seen a regulated child and a dysregulated parent. Like, this is my parent, this is my child. I've never seen a regulated and a dysregulated parent, but I have seen parents that are regulated and the child is freaking out and they're dysregulated. I've seen that. And so I want us all to be that parent that is so regulated that when our child is freaking out, that we can hold the space for them. And one of the things that we're human, one of the things that I do quite often, my best today is very different than what it's going to be tomorrow, but I always do my best. So I'm compassionate that, certain times my best is not so great, but that's my best today or that day. And so then just keep that in mind that, know, and that's why sometimes for me, hookups, when I'm not feeling like, oh, no, it didn't go as I thought it would go, I'm kind of like, you know what, but that was my best. And I'm always setting that intention that it's like I just show up as my best. So when your child is having a meltdown and then you join them right there with it, I've been there, you guys. Many times it was, my meltdowns were right internally right there with them, and many times they were external because we're human.
Mhm.
And so just knowing that it's okay. That was my best. Tomorrow will be a different day.
I love that. When you know better, you do better. And each day is
Absolutely.
different. And each day we show up doing the best that we can. And I love that compassion that you're role modeling for yourself and that you've just shared that you're not perfect either. You've had your moments. Like, so parents who are watching, like, give yourself some of that compassion.
And look at this. Our bodies were never meant to be in this kind of stressful environment in our world. So I still have first reactions. That's nature. That's normal. So something hits me and it's like, oh, okay. I'm gonna have a first reaction. Before I used to like go, no, everything is okay. Everything's no, 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 no. Like that, I still, I find myself, oh, that upset me. That made me not feel so good. That's my first reaction. Let it come, let it go. Now, don't act on that reaction. That's really important. Don't act on it. Let it be, and then do a movement that will help you get to your second reaction. Your second reaction will have a broader view because now you've done a movement that will integrate more of your brain, giving you more access to your beautiful thinking, rational, exploratory, new possibilities brain. And then your that will be more polished, a lot more polished. And then your third reaction will be more polished. Act from that one.
Mm. Alma, I'm sure everyone's going to want to dive right into the the workshop that you're providing, how to naturally improve ADHD challenges, where they'll get to learn 3 of your favorite movements. Um, how else can people find you? Where's the best place to look for you? Social
We on
media,
our
website?
website. Yeah, we do. We have Brainworks Inc. And just look up Brainworks Inc. and we're there. We have YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. We have social media. But go to the workshop. In the workshop, I'm going to talk a lot more about the brain development and why there's many times a misconception. It's like, oh, this child, he's just running around. Is he? Yes, he is. Of course he is. But why is he running around? There's so many reasons why neurologically our children do certain things to compensate, to show up and do their best, but there's huge amount of root causes that happened in the early foundational part, the first year of life. So I'm going to talk a lot more about that. And then those 3 movements. And if you don't do anything else with anything else, you guys practice those 3 movements. Practice those 3 movements with an intention, and you will start to see big changes because little movements make big changes. So
I love that. Thank you. So, parents, thank you so much for joining Alma and I in the ADHD Village Facebook group. Look for Alma's thread and share what is something that you gained from this session today. What is something that you are going to start implementing to bring some harmony and success and balance into your family? Maybe you'd like to share the intentions, the actual words that you are going to be using when you try something like a hookup. So Alma has shared some beautiful intentions. I am present and connected. I'm working on calming down. I'm holding the space to calm down. My best self shows up. So do one of those really resonate with you, or do you have one of your own? It would be really beautiful if we could share our intentions under Alma's thread, and we could have this great big list of beautiful intentions that we can all pick and choose from. So it's all about support in our community. Everybody who comments under Alma's thread, you will be entered in a draw to win a VIP all access pass. And in that pass, Alma's also throwing in a VIP gift. And maybe Alma, you can let us know what they can expect from that VIP gift.
it's going to be videos of different movements and how to use them.
Beautiful. So we're going to have VIPs. You're going to have a whole beautiful library full of movements that you can start using for yourself and your family. Alma, thank you so much. Do you have any final words of calm or inspiration that you'd like to share?
I love what you said. If we would have known better, we would have done better. That goes for our parents, our grandparents, everyone else that we are a part of in our lineage. And but the thing is, if we as a parent would have done, we're doing the best I can. So just be gentle.
Mm.
Just be gentle. Find movements, find something that really is simple, that gives you joy, because we will not sustain something if if it doesn't feel good, we will do it and it will drift away. And
Mm.
that's why in the workshop I show you the ones that just they light me up.
Mm.
They do so much for me. That's why I want to just share them, but they may not be the ones that you are loving. So find something. I love that you shared that you liked tapping. Tapping works great. There's just so many beautiful modalities. Find something that feels good and take care of yourself.
Thank you, Alma. In the ADHD Village, we have a saying, find your people and love them hard. And I am just so full of gratitude that I found you, Alma. The work that you do, your heart is so beautiful. And I'm so grateful that you have shared this time with us. Thank you, Alma.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
Parents, sending you so much love. And I look forward to seeing you in the next interview.